How's everyone doing this evening? Good, great. All right, so thank you so much everyone for coming to At America and welcome to At America. We are the U.S. Embassy's American Center. And first of all, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ara and I will be the host for today's event. And for those of you new here, At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission here is to provide a space for people to learn more about the United States through our programs and also our events. And our event for today is titled At America Academy, The Art of Professional English Writing. And before we begin our event for today, we have a social media quiz for our online viewers. And the question of the day is it true or false? Writing is a powerful tool for developing critical thinking skills. If you think you know the answer to this question, you can submit it on our social media platforms. And for those of you who can answer it correctly, will receive a shout out from us by the end of this event. And ladies and gentlemen, today we will be gaining practical tips and guidance directly from English experts from Jakarta International English. And today we are already joined by our very amazing facilitators. And I will read a little bit of an introduction of our facilitators today. Our first facilitator is Kristo Robertho Imanuel Wonlay. He is the academic staff of Jakarta International English. And our co-facilitator for today is Faturahman Rasyid, and he is the council advisor of Jakarta International English. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Kak Kristo and Kak Fatur.
Testing.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
I think we got to do it one more time. Good evening, everyone. There we go.
All right. It is such an honor. It is a privilege for us from Jakarta International English to be here and to help us all learn together. And today's session is about writing. Who came last week? Please raise your hand. Thank you for coming again to learn together with us. Fatur, do you have any comments?
Yes, I would like to say bienvenido a todos. Welcome to the second sessions of the workshop. Welcome all.
All right. Yeah, without further ado, now please let's take your phone. We're going to play a game.
Take off your phones, please.
All right, take out your phones and let's go to your notes section. Note app that you have. We're going to play a game called Words Chain. Okay, everyone is ready with their note app? Are you ready with your note app? Okay, cool. Yeah. This game is called Words Chain because we're going to write words that chain together. So as you can see on the screen, the first word that I wrote here is draw. This word ends with W, meaning that the next word that I'll be writing is the word that begins with W. In this case, it's wings. The word wings ends with what letter? S. So the next word should begin with S. This time it's super. The last letter is B, so you've got the idea, right? If you've got the idea, please give me thumbs up. Show me thumbs up. Okay, thank you. I'm going to give you just 1 minute to write as many words as you can using the first word that I'm going to tell you. The first word is America. Starts with A. Just English words. Okay, you can write any verbs, adjectives, nouns, just English words.
However, one thing, no repeated words, everyone. No repeated words. So if you have used one particular word, please do not repeat it.
Thank you, Fato. Yeah, 1 minute begins.
And also, perhaps while you guys are all writing down the notes, perhaps for those who are currently online right now, tune in from YouTube or perhaps other social medias. Perhaps there's going to be a question box for you guys to fill. We are going to be addressing them one by one within the Q&A actions. All right?
5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Hands up, everyone. Hands up. Okay, stop typing. Yeah, now please check how many words you have written. Please count.
Has anybody gotten 30? 30? Anyone gotten to 30? 13.
Okay. 20 words, perhaps? 16? 15, okay. 15.
Okay.
20, is there any 20? 17.
Okay.
No. 20. All right, we've got our winner over here. We've got 20. Yeah, please give claps for him. Okay, now let's move to the next round. Now this round is going to be more challenging. We still use the same rule from the previous round, which is not repeat the same words, but this round you should only write verbs. Okay, just write verbs. So verbs like run, walk, think, dream, think of those words.
Dancing?
Yes, that one as well, okay? So please use just verbs. The first verb for you will be, give me one word, one verb.
One verb. Crying?
Crying. Let's start with a G. 1 minute starts. Ten more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands up, everyone. Hands up.
Hands up, everyone.
No more typing.
There we go.
Okay. Count how many words you have written down.
6.
Well done.
6. Anyone perhaps above 10? Anyone above 10? And probably we'll need to check them. Will that be okay?
I'm afraid we don't have time for that.
Anyone close to 10 besides 6?
Maybe 8 or 9. So 6?
I think
6 is the highest? Amazing. Can we give applause for our gentleman right here? Congrats, man. All right. Yeah. Okay, everyone. You can actually try to just play this game whenever you can, just to see how many words you can recall. Yeah. You can also do this for adjectives, verbs, nouns, or any particular English words that you need still to practice about. And you can also do this together with your friends, just to compete how many words that you can write. Okay, so we are done with our warm-up activity. Now let's just jump into the lesson. But before we do begin, I'd like to remind us about these 3 particular rules. The first one, please silence your phones. Second of all, please be interactive and be present. Yeah, we are going to help not just ourselves, but also our friends to learn together. So please be present. Please answer them if they have questions. Lastly, no judgment without consent. Now, this particular rule is our signature kind of like rule from Jakarta International English. If you have concerns regarding someone else's grammar when they speak, please ask them first. Can I give you feedback? If they say no, please don't. If they say yes, then you can give them feedback. We want to respect each other here. None of us here is a native English speaker. We are learning this together. Okay. Now let's move to what actually that we're going to be talking. Here are 3 common problems that many of us probably have when we write using English. We use English when we write emails, or when we write presentation updates, or even minutes of meetings. How many HRs are here, or perhaps secretaries? Yeah? Okay, thank you very much for your service, especially in making those notes and sending these notes to our management. But here are 3 common problems that we probably have. The first one, we tend to miss our main ideas. And then sometimes it's also not cohesive. What is the meaning of the word cohesive? we'll be exploring it together. And lastly, we tend to use direct translation because we're not used to how native English speakers would probably sound in their writing. So we're going to be looking at these 3 problems and 3 solutions and how to tackle them. Have a look at this email written by Mr. Hassan. If you name Hassan, I'm sorry. All right, let's have a look. If you like this email, please give thumbs up. If you dislike it, give thumbs down. Yeah, let's vote now. If you like it, thumbs up. If you dislike it, thumbs down. Okay, thank you. I see so many thumbs down. Yeah. Now, we thumbs down our writing because we know that it is not readable in a way that we can understand it. But sometimes it's difficult for us to explain that we just do not understand this kind of writing, maybe because we don't have the reason, or it just feels off. Now, today we're going to be exploring how to say that our writing feels off from the academic perspective of an English educator. Yeah, so we're going to be looking at how off this email is, and we're going to be improving it together. So this is the reason why that email sounds off. So the first one is it misses its main idea. There are a lot of things discussed in this particular paragraph that the author forgot to elaborate it together. And then the second of all, it is redundant, meaning that it has too much things to say without being straightforward. So if you look at the yellow part, these are all the redundant parts. So it is with a great disappointment to inform you that we know that you're disappointed that your last week's sale dropped by a certain %, but you could just say that, you could just begin with, our last week's sale dropped by 15%, because that's what you're trying to say. Or the next one of the strategies which we will implement is that you could just say that we are going to collaborate with Mr. Tama, blah, 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 as one of the strategies, things like that. So it is redundant, and these things in yellow are not necessarily needed to be put there. Next one is, this email also has undeveloped ideas. And the pink part, for example, it says, our last week's sale dropped by 15%. Now, the readers, as readers, we require more explanation. How did it happen? And second of all, we have made several changes to improve next week's sale. What kind of changes? It's not well explained here, and also it doesn't have the examples. So the pink one means it's undeveloped. The next one is it's not cohesive. The whole thing is not cohesive. We're going to be exploring about it later on. And then finally, it has an awkward closing. Are you going to wish everyone having a great day when the company is like this? Okay. Yeah, so those 3 common problems, and here are the 3 main solutions that we'd like to offer. The first one, we must only have one main idea per one paragraph. Second of all, for not being cohesive, we want to write sentences that are linked together. And lastly, from using direct translation, we would like to encourage you to use more direct and active voice. Now let's have a look at these solutions one by one. The first one, we want to just have one main idea in one paragraph. So if you can see the format changes, right? From previously compacted or all in just one paragraph, we have now made them into several paragraphs. The paragraph is identified by the line, the spaced line that we have here in this new format. So our last week's sale dropped by 15%. This thing over here is our very first statement, and this must be our first paragraph. And then we need to add reasons and the next sentences to make it well developed. The next paragraph is we have made several changes to improve next week's sale. We need to name those changes and give examples. So this will be another paragraph. So from just one paragraph, this one, after we improved it, it now has lots of paragraphs. Depending on the purpose of the email, depending on what you're trying to convey, or depending on the time or the duration that you think the readers would likely to spend for this email, then you can adjust the length of the writing. But if you want to have well-developed ideas in your email, remember to always keep one main idea per one paragraph. So you cannot combine both the problem and the solutions in the same paragraph. Yeah, that is our first takeaway note for today. Second of all, we want to use more direct and active voice. Now, I have explained this a little bit in the beginning. So instead of saying one of the strategies which we will implement is that, especially is that, it sounds very Indonesian. Yeah, we can just say we are going to collaborate with Mr. Tama as an influencer, or this one as an influencing influencer. Yeah, just like we want to strategize the strategies. It sounds off. Yeah, we just want to be direct in this case. Or if you still want to have kind of like a sentence starter, you can say, to solve this problem, we are going to collaborate with Mr. Tama as a well-known influencer. Okay, today we'll be learning about one writing technique. Fatur is going to explain about it, yeah? To help us truly understand how to compose a good paragraph. And I will be discussing how to make it cohesive. But before we go further, please take your phone and scan this material.
All right, has everyone, oh, I'm sorry, by the way. Thank you. Has everyone scanned the barcode, the QR code behind me? Yes? All right, thank you so much. So now we can safely move forward. Now, Kristo has mentioned something about a writing structure, a writing techniques. Sorry? All right, there we go. All right. Perhaps Kristo is gonna work on it, but for now, let's move forward. But thank you so much, by the way. Moving forward, now, the PEAL method. PEAL stands for point, explanations, evidence, and link. Perhaps for one of my MUN peers over here, you probably know of RL method, but here for now, we are going to be using the PEAL, right? Point, explanations, evidence, and link. Now, it is practically, essentially very much self-explanatory. Yes, you have to do point, which is basically the main idea, and then afterwards you need to explain what the ideas entails to, and then you need to provide evidence. Now, we do think that this is the most crucial part, is that providing evidence. Now, the source, trust me, bro, does not really work. All right, we do need to provide statistics, study cases, or perhaps even past actions that has been occurred beforehand, just to essentially concrete our arguments. Now, last but not least, is the link. Now, there are two ways in which the link can actually goes to, right? It can link back to the point, or link to another argument or another idea. Now, for point, here we have our sales dropped by 15% last week. You state your main idea here. For explanation, it would be one possible reason is that our social media engagement was very low. That's going to be the explanations. Now, bear in mind the evidence. For the whole year, we only gained around 100 new Instagram followers, which shows a very slow growth. And last but not least, for the link, with engagement that low, we couldn't reach new audiences. And that likely contributed to the drop in sales. Very cohesive, very straight to the point, and it has, more importantly, it has one main idea. That is what we're going to do. Now, moving forward, this is going to be another example to the PEAL, all right? Because later on, we are going to be perhaps asking you guys which one's which, all right? We are going to be having a bit of a quiz, all right, since this is a workshop. So, moving forward, for another example, the point would be clear communications improves the team productivity at work. For our explanations, it would be when tasks and expectations are clearly shared, employees can work more efficiently. For our evidence, it would be teams with clear written instructions completed projects 25% faster and required 30% fewer revisions than teams relying only on verbal communications. Now, last but not least, for our link, therefore, clear communications directly leads to more efficient and productive teamwork. Now, who's ready for a bit of a quiz? Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thank you so much for the passion. Now, we're moving to a quiz. Now, I want you guys to see essentially which one's the point, which one's the explanations, and which one's the evidence, and which one's the link. All right? We'll have about 30 seconds for you guys to figure it out. All right, 30 seconds, and then afterwards, I'll be asking you. All right, 30 seconds starts now. Which one's which? Fifteen seconds left. 5. All right, so who has answers? All right, you, sir. CBAD, point being the C, point being the C, explanations being the B, and evidence being the A, and link being the D. Anyone perhaps have any, perhaps other, yes?
Am I audible?
Yes.
For me, I think it's a bit confusing to choose which one is the point because for B and C, it can be both the point. Our current tool is inefficient, it can be a point. Then we can explain for the evidence, it's marked delayed 30%. I think that could be the point too, if we use B. But if we use C, we should switch to a new project monitoring tool. It's a good point too. I think we can use the first one that is suggested by the previous answer. But probably if we use, for me, I think our current tool is inefficient in tracking deadlines. That should be a great point. That is going to be the starting point because at the end, the link is we want to use a new tool. That's only the part that I think is switchable to use B or C. That's all. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much, by the way, for the comprehensive answer. Love that. So essentially, yes, we do agree that this is probably perhaps a bit confusing and perhaps a bit misleading. But then again, that's basically the paragraph that we encountered on a daily basis as well, especially when we read emails as well as we read news network, right? News articles. But then again, that is our job to basically identify which is the main idea. Well, let's see whether or not which one's which. And the answer would be yes. The point would be C. Right? We should switch to a new project monitoring tool. So this is going to be the main idea of the whole paragraph or the whole writings. For our explanations, it would be our current tool is inefficient in tracking deadlines. Now, if we use the B ones, right, our current tool is inefficient in tracking deadlines, we are not quite sure as to why this is happening in the first place. So therefore, we have that as our explanations. For our evidence, right, 30% of our tasks were marked delayed due to the lack of real-time updates. I think this is pretty much clear that for evidences, yes, there's going to be a bit of statistics involved, especially numbers. But then again, there are cases in which it would be qualitative instead, so no quantitative evidence. As for the link, it would be using a new tool will improve coordination, reduce delays, and strengthen our overall project performance. As we have mentioned earlier, the link, it can perhaps go back to the first point, or perhaps even link it to another argument, or perhaps even to the answer, right? As Mr. Kristo has mentioned earlier, question and answers cannot be in the same paragraph. It should be in a different one. Next one. Another one, right? Another quiz. So perhaps a bit of a 30 seconds for you all to figure out which one's which, starting from now. Ten seconds left. Perhaps can work for the PowerPoints. All right, it should be this one. All right, so for the peel, right, we're now going to reveal our answer. Wait, I think you guys had a bit of a glimpse of the answer earlier. Apologies for that. So anyone got an answer for this one? Yes, miss. Oh.
So my answer for this question is actually the point would be B and the explanation C, evidence D, and to the link is the A one. So B, C, D, and A.
Let's see. Perhaps can you emphasize a bit as to why you choose those order?
Because the first one is our office should have a no meetings or day policy, so it's a bit short. And then the explanation is why, because it helps staff reset mentally and boost their performance. And for the evidence, is the several people said they got more work done when their meetings were canceled. And for the link, it goes back to therefore limiting Saturday work will boost team's performance. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the answer. Perhaps I will explain in regards to the answer, or perhaps have been a feedback on that one. Perhaps one more. Yes.
I think my answer is same with the person before answered that. So my answer is B, or because it's a point. Our office should have no meeting Saturday policy, but I still confusing between C and D. Cause okay, I know cause having one guaranteed day without work on Saturday helps staff reset. It's giving explanation, but in one department last week, several people say they got more work done, and I think it's maybe giving evidence, but sometimes I still confusing. But my opinion is same with her. B, C, D, and A.
B, C, D, and then A. All right.
Beer.
Thank you so much for the answer. And thank you so much for the comprehensive answer yet again. Really do love it. And yes, again, a bit of a confusion as well between whether or not it should be B or it should be in Delta. But then again, we should really look into how it is actually formatted, how actually written. Now, if we look at the B, right? If we look at the B, it is essentially a one-liner kind of thing. It says, it is basically the main idea of the whole paragraph. Now, if we've seen over here, there we go. It should be the B. Our office should have no meeting Saturday policy. It has no emphasizations. It has no evidences after it. It does not really have any. It does not really have any explanations. So therefore, that would be our main idea. Now, for the explanation part, it would be the C. Having one guaranteed day without work on Saturday helps staff reset mentally and boost their performance. As for our evidence, as we have essentially mentioned earlier, evidences can be both qualitative or even quantitative, statistics or even study cases. Now, in this case, it is presented as a study case. In one department last week, several people said they got more work done when their meetings were canceled. And last but not least, for our link, therefore, limiting Saturday work will boost teams' performance and morale for the whole office. Right, so congratulations, you guys got it. So, as perhaps a bit of a confusion as to how we can actually start peel. Yes, it is point. It is the peel method. But then again, how can we essentially write peel? How can we start a peel? We are going to be having a bit of an exercise, and perhaps even for those that are watching online, you can participate too. By the way, so this is how you start peel, right? For our point, it would be like this: subject plus verb most of the time. For example, Mr. Bayu wants, Amalia thinks, Mr. Kristo wanted, and so on and so forth. This will be our point, right? Moving to our explanations. That's because, or you can probably have it, this is due to, or what happens is, it's basically linking, right, from the point, because you need the main idea, so therefore you take it out from the point. Now, moving to evidences, again, statistics, and perhaps even past cases, you're going to be mentioning here in the evidence, all right? It is recorded that, or you can say, it is evident that, or perhaps according to, and so on and so forth, all right? According to the New York Times, according to Harvard studies, according to Cambridge, and so on and so forth, right? The more the more statistics, the more credibility that particular organizations or institutions that you're referring to has, it is much more concrete. Now, if I only say 75% of smokers died by the age of 70, would you believe that? Probably not. But if I say, perhaps, according to Harvard Medicines, 75% of smokers dies by the age of 70. Now, would you probably believe that? Leading towards the yes, because why? It has Harvard on it. But then again, that particular example is just an example. It is not the truth. So moving to our link, that's why, therefore, with this in mind, all right? Or additionally, and so on and so forth. This would be your link. We are going to be having a bit of an exercise in regards to the peel, all right? So please stay tuned for that. Now, we've seen how peel is basically written in a format of email, but what if I tell you that peel can also be written like this, a whole paragraph? Now, perhaps I'll be reading it. Living in Jakarta is expensive. With a median salary of below $360 per month, one cannot expect a comfortable lifestyle, especially for families with children. For example, sending children to good private schools costs at least $200 per month, while rent alone takes about $100 monthly. This situation makes it difficult for most Jakartan, particularly young families, to afford the cost of living. Now, it is presented in the whole paragraph, all right? This whole peel structure. Can anyone perhaps tell me which one's which? We'll have that again. Which one's which? Which one's the point? Now, if you think, oh, it is basically linked to one another. You are correct, because it is linked to one another. It is basically in an old-fashioned way, PEEL. All right, it's not going to be point, link, evidence, and so on and so forth. All right, remembering the previous the previous paragraph over here, point, explanations, evidence, and link. However, do keep in mind that perhaps for the explanations and evidence, you can actually change the positions, all right? You can have it point, evidence, explanations, and link, or perhaps point, evidence, explanations, and link, or so on and so forth, all right? So, moving forward, which one's which? There we go. For the yellow one would be the point. Living in Jakarta is expensive. This is going to be our main idea yet again. For our explanations, this was basically the ones highlighted in green with a median salary and so on and so forth. And we do have the evidences presented as well. Again, a bit of statistics as well as numbers, but then again, also qualitative ones. And last but not least, the link, which is gonna be down below. But then again, I think Mr. Kristo as well will be broken down this particular paragraph in later slides. And this is yours.
Thank you very much, Fatur, for explaining about PEEL. All right, everyone, before I move forward with my slides, perhaps the QR code works now. So we're going to be scanning this QR code again. Yeah, please try it again. Please tell me it works. All right, does it work, guys? Does it work? Fantastic. Yeah, so, and second of all, I'd like to perhaps address some confusion that you might probably still have about PEEL, just to add some comments. I want you to think of the point as the claim, yeah? I want you to think of the point as a claim. A claim, what is a claim? A claim is a broad statement. It is an information which requires more explanation. So whenever we give a statement that somehow needs more explanation to that, that is a claim. For example, I can claim that I am rich, for example. Just an example. I'm crazy rich. I need to explain more about it. Like people need to they need to find some evidence about it. They need to tell, like, for example, what kind of car brand that I drive and so on and so forth. So it is just a claim. So a claim needs explanation and in its evidence. So think of point as a claim, just like this one. Our sales dropped by 15% last week. How do you know? And so there's no way we can confuse the first sentence with the second one, because the first sentence is a claim, yeah? And sometimes claim also use strong words like should, It's called hedging language. So we should switch to a new project monitoring tool. So when it comes with models, should, would, will, can, and so on and so forth, these words are strong because they kind of like give the attitude of your sentence, right? And this kind of sentence needs more explanation. Why do you think we should do this? So think of point as claim, then I think it can clear your confusion. Yeah? I hope this helps. Okay. This one as well comes with a should. And for this sentence starters, for example, you can use I realize that blah, blah, blah. These are pretty strong as well. Like, did you know you want to start like a whole new peel explanation, peel paragraph by asking people whether they realize something has happened or not? So every time we say, did you know? Of course, we need explanation, right? So think of it, again, as kind of like a hook to something that needs more explanation and a claim. All right. Yeah. I have promised in the beginning of this presentation that we will be looking at cohesive paragraphs. And then we paraphrase cohesive paragraph as sentences that are linked together. Okay, please remember the keyword. We need to make paragraphs that are linked together. Okay, must link together. So this paragraph is a cohesive paragraph. Now, how do we know that they are linked together? It is linked together because if you have a look at these color-coded parts of the paragraph, you see the yellow part, expensive, is later on explained in the next sentence. So the pattern is like, you start the sentence by saying, living in Jakarta is expensive. Okay, again, it's a claim, right? It's expensive. Living in Jakarta is expensive. The first sentence ends with expensive. That means the next sentence should talk a little bit about expensiveness, how expensive it is. And then the next sentence ends with, especially for families with children. Now that means that the next sentence coming should discuss a little bit about the children. So here we have the green with the green, especially for families with children. For example, sending children. Now here we go, we talk about it. So this is called a cohesive paragraph. If you, for example, say especially for families with children, and then use the next paragraph, you talk about the cost of transportation, it is not cohesive. Even if it still does discuss about how expensive it is, but it is not cohesive. Because you give an explanation that, especially for families with children, the reader wants to know, how does it affect children? In any way or another, in this paragraph. Have a look at this paragraph. Fatur, would you please read this paragraph for us?
Absolutely. After conducting a survey last week at Ismail Marzuki Park, the team decided to make some adjustments to the retreat event plans. Several games involving water were replaced with other activities due to restrictions related to dry areas regulations. Another restriction also includes not having boxed meals, which required the consumption division to change the dining arrangement to buffet style.
Thank you so much. By the way, I really like your intonation, man. All right. Now, do you see how cohesive it is? Yeah? They are linked together. So the first sentence ends with the information that they need to make some adjustments to the retreat event plans. So the adjustment is later explained in the next sentence by saying, oh, these activities were replaced with other activities. So this is kind of like the adjustment they have to do. And then the next sentence ends with restrictions. Yeah, I've bolded it for purpose. So due to restrictions related to dry area regulations. The next sentence talks about another restriction. Now, this is cohesive because the previous sentence ends with restriction. So perhaps do we have another restriction? It is like thinking about it as you are speaking with someone. Like, hey, I want to go to Bangkok for holiday. And the person should expect the next information to come like, what holiday? When is the date? No, it's cohesive. It's like, it just comes naturally. It is impossible for you to say, I want to go to Bangkok for holiday, but I miss Bali. It's not cohesive. So when you write paragraph, think of it from the perspective as the reader. Do you like your own paragraph? Does it sound cohesive? Does it bring more questions or clarity from the point of view of the readers? I think I have another example. Yeah, this one. Mr. Fatur, please read again.
Yet again. All right, so it is an extract from email. So this one would be, I would like to raise a concern about our communication system at ABC company. It is inappropriate to contact staff after 6 p.m., knowing some of us are already at home with our families, to spend our quality time with them and rest after work. Getting contacting during this time can cause discomfort and affect our personal time. Therefore, I hope the management can reconsider this practice and set clearer limits for communication outside working hours.
Thank you so much. Who is there enough to send this email to their management? Perhaps, yeah? Okay. Now, this email, yeah, it's a daring email, isn't it? And this is well written. Why? Because it's cohesive. So the writer begins by stating that he or she wants to raise a concern about our communication system, about their communication system. And then the next sentence talks about how the communication system is done into practice, which is, it is inappropriate to contact staff after 6 p.m. And we have the keyword, which is to contact. To contact means to communicate, right? So the communication is done after 6 p.m. So it's a cohesive these two sentences are cohesive because they're linked together. Knowing some of us are already at home, blah, 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 and look at the green part in this paragraph, spend our quality time with them and rest after work. The next sentence talks about this time, which literally says during this time. During what time? It refers to the quality time with their family and rest after work. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine, let's say if, I would just want to put myself into the shoe of the author, and I would just say, additionally, it also does not contribute to my productivity. Okay, I'm going to repeat my sentence one more time. Additionally, it also does not help to improve my productivity. Can you guess what am I going to discuss in the next sentence? What will I discuss in the next sentence? I will repeat my sentence, yeah? Additionally, it does not contribute to improve my productivity. What will the next sentence discuss about? Performance. Well done. Because I ended my sentence with productivity. So what do you mean by productivity? So that is how cohesive paragraph works. All right, we've been so intense. Can we give applause for ourselves? Right, so this is the pattern of a cohesive paragraph. You start the sentence with information A, and then you want to end it with information B. The next sentence should include B, but then if you want to talk about the other information, you can add C. And then the pattern goes all the way like this until you decide to finally, oh, let's just talk about another thing. In that case, you have to have a new paragraph, or you can say something like this, on the other hand. Yeah? This is a good conjunction that you can use if you want to switch to a whole new idea in the same paragraph. Or if you want to change the idea, you can just make a whole new paragraph. Just enter, making it to good formatting, and just type your own ideas. Now, what do you think about this? Is this cohesive? Do you guys remember this email? Is this email cohesive? Okay. Great. It is great to see that we have learned something today, how to write a cohesive paragraph. And then now you have another reason to say that Hassan needs to improve his writing. Anyway, that's all from me about cohesive, and now we're going to do some practices.
So hopefully you all are excited for a bit of a practice. So for those who are currently watching us online, you can also participate as well. For the ones offline, we're going to be going around checking if it's actually the correct peel or not. We're going to check around, and if you guys want to ask questions, we'll have time for that as well. All right, so moving forward, please scan the QR code behind us. This is gonna be linking you or connecting you to our Padlet, all right, that we are going to be using for our practices. There are going to be tons of, there's going to be quite a few exercises, all right, back and forth. So please scan the QR code. Now, if you see in the Padlet, there's going to be one particular Padlet that says, I would like to raise a concern about. Now, again, referring to our theme, which is basically professional work environment, right? We are going to be having our prompts and as well as our peel structures or writings based on that. So please, if you would like to do so, write the peel of this. I would like to raise a concern about whatever it is, all right? But please make it work related. We have a bit of a time until what time, Kristo?
Perhaps 10 minutes.
10 minutes will be enough? 10 minutes is enough for you guys? Enough? All right, perhaps enough.
Yeah, and like, by the way, if you guys have questions, just raise your hand and we can discuss it together.
Yes, absolutely. Any questions, perhaps? Any questions? Perhaps they're quite busy with writing.
Oh, by the way, you guys can use your name. So you can write, for example, Kristo, and then my peel paragraph just under my name before you post a comment. But you can go anonymously as well. We believe that there's no perfect company in this world, so there should be things that you are concerning about, so you can just write about it, yeah? It's the time for you to complain, guys. You go anonymously.
Perhaps. And again, this is a workshop. A due reminder that this is a workshop. Trial and errors are going to be there, so please do not be afraid to perhaps try the exercise. There's no harm in trying. All right, we have several answers here in practice 01. I would like to raise a concern about insufficient companies' parking lot facilities for our employees. Relatable. Buying a pet, our air conditioning system in our office. Perhaps if you guys would like to write the whole complete sentence of peel, all right? Point, evidence, explanations, and link, all right?
So you can use the, I would like to raise a concern about as the sentence starters in this case. So for example, I'd like to raise a concern about our air conditioning system in our office. So that will be your P, your point. And then don't forget to add the explanation, evidence, and link. Ugly design, all right. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're uncomfortable to type on your phones, we have iPads available. You can go and borrow one for you to work on this workshop.
Perhaps for this one particular comment, our air conditioning system in our office, perhaps you need to specify what is the problem, right? What is the thing that you need to point out? If you say perhaps our air conditioning system in our office, perhaps you're trying to glorify how cold the AC is, or how hot it is. You need to be specific. Is it broken? Is it perhaps too cold? Or is it perhaps majestic? All right? And a duly reminder that the theme of this workshop is essentially professional work, all right, relevancy. So please lean into that topic.
So just as a reminder, everyone, the expectation of this practice is for you to create 4 sentences. Okay, 4 sentences in one peel paragraph. So that will be the expectation. So if you have given like these comments, that will be the point. You can click on the 3 dots button, right top corner, and then you can modify it by extending it into a whole new paragraph. Thank you.
Yep. Perhaps from this side, do you guys have any questions? How's the progress going? I think for this one in particular, right? This is basically like the Yeah, I think you can just edit this. If this is here we go. I'll edit that. Hmm? Yeah, later on. Yeah, sure. If I edit, then you wouldn't be able to use the comment. I think we're going to need to scroll down a bit. No, if I edit, you wouldn't be able to use. I think we'd be able to see it, like the edited comments. So you just edit the comments, and we'll probably do it. Yeah.
All right, guys, you don't have to think about vocabulary or grammar issues. Just write one paragraph. Yeah. Remember that today's objectives are not basically about looking at our grammar or vocabulary, but we just want to create one cohesive peel paragraph. That's the whole objective of today's activity.
Yes, essentially, if you haven't heard of peel before, this is your perfect time in order to apply it. Perhaps practice it first and then apply later on. Yes.
Should I give the detail for my paragraph, like the detail peel? So where's the point? Where's the evidence? Where's the explanation? No.
Don't worry.
Only,
You just
concept.
write the whole paragraph as a whole because peel is going to be it's going to be in an orderly fashion. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to be giving you guys another 5 minutes to do the exercise. All right. Are there any questions, perhaps? None. All right. So perhaps, Kristo, we can actually try to see one of the comments within the Padlet. Yes.
Right. Okay. Can we have Miss Joanna and the Valiant Badger to move the writings first to practice one? Thank you so much for your cooperation. Yeah, we have got one here from Mr. Dimas. I'm going to read this for us. Our air conditioning system in our I would like to raise a concern about our air conditioning system in our office. I saw that the AC was set at 17 degree in the morning. It is too cold for a temperature in the morning. For example, Jane couldn't finish her work because she was freezing. Who is Jen? Were you freezing? I believe setting it in a more proper temperature, such as 23 degrees Celsius, will help us start our day much better. Comments?
This is actually very good because the examples that we have going through with the peels are essentially from a third-person perspectives. Now, in this case, it's going to be first person. I believe setting it in a more proper temperature, such as 23 Celsius, will help us start our day much better. But then again, do you think that essentially that this is an opinion, all right? But then again, this can actually work, all right, for our link. But then again, Kristo, what do you think about this one in particular? I saw that the AC was set at 17 in the morning. Perhaps it might raise a bit of a confusion in regards to the time. Do you think so?
I personally think that that it could be the evidence actually, yeah, because you saw that it was set at 17 degree in the morning. So I think that could be the evidence. So I think we can restructure this. So I saw that the AC was set at 17, could be put before saying that Jen couldn't finish her work. So you could say that I saw that this morning the temperature was 17 degree and it caused Jen to not focus on finishing her work. So I think that would work that way. I do have a comment though. So in this case, we may not need to have for example, because we are actually not giving an example. How do I say that? We're trying to just say that there's this thing happened. So it is not that we are giving an example. To improve, I would suggest instead of, for example, we can say it is too cold for a temperature in the morning. Just this morning, Jen couldn't finish her work because it was 17, so she was not focused. So you can be a little bit like flexible to use those sentence starters. So we don't always have to use for examples anytime we want to give examples. Yeah. I think we have more coming here. Oh, they love this Padlet so much that they write it here.
Yes, that is for our second practice, so perhaps calm down on that one, guys.
That's all right. I'm going to just add another one for the next practice.
All right, thank you so much, Kristo. Perhaps can we go more down? All right. Okay. Okay, this is good. All right, prayer.
Oh my God. Joanna? Or what? Oh, right, okay. Yeah. This one, I think this is done by a teacher. Yeah. Looks like we have a fellow teacher here. Is this Mr. or Miss? Sorry, Adrizo?
Adrizio?
Oh, hi.
yeah.
Oh, all right, okay. Thank you for speaking for us. Anyway.
Perhaps I'll try to read it. I would like to raise a concern about the absence of some students in the math class. It is recorded that 8 students consecutively absent from 3 meetings. What happened was those students didn't attend the class without giving clear reasons. Therefore, we need to investigate their reasons and we can try to find the answer of their absence. Now, the main point here being that there's actually concern about the absence of some students. We're moving on to the explanation part. Yes. Here as well, all right, as we have explained earlier for the evidence as well, it is going to be qualitative and both quantitative in this case, all right? What happened was those students didn't attend a class without giving clear reasons. Now, this is a very good examples of qualitative examples or evidence. Kristo, any further comments?
I actually see that he put the evidence first. So it is recorded. So he used the sentence starters. Well then, that 8 students consecutively absent from 3 meetings. So the evidence is there. And anyway, about evidence and explanation, sometimes we got switched, but it doesn't matter. As long as you can explain it while giving good evidence, then you're good. Yeah? So well done, gentlemen. That one, clarity is good, I think, from Loyal Hornet. Yeah, Loyal is so loyal.
Loyal Hornet. Is it
Yeah.
this one?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to read it, yeah?
Yeah, go
I'd
ahead.
like to raise a concern about the clarity of each staff's job description in this company. Due to the amount of work each staff has, there are times where the division of the job overlaps. These overlaps in the work causes difficulties in communication during the process. Thus, there is a need to reassess this staff's job description to avoid further issues. Perhaps I'd like to give a quick comment. The very first thing is that it is well written in terms of the structure. So you've got the P, E for explanation, and another E for explanation and link. However, you need to add evidence or examples. And in this case, you can use for example as a good sentence starter. So you can write about what kind of the job desk that was overlapped, that you are not supposed to do that, but like you did anyway. So give one very specific example, because this is a really big sentence. This is a really big claim, a concern about the clarity of each staff job description in this company. So when did it happen? So give one specific example.
Yes, absolutely. So this overlaps in the work cause difficulties in communications during the process. The PEEEL. There's no explanations here. Perhaps do try to provide an explanations as to why this is the case, as Kristo has explained earlier. All right. Perhaps any other? Can we please go up? I think one by Hamza and John. I think that will be a good example. Hamza and John. Go down a bit.
The last
yes,
one?
this one.
Yeah.
All right. Hamza and John. So perhaps we're going to be dealing with this, and then we're going to be moving forward with the second exercise. Would that be okay? All right. So for Hamza, I would like to raise a concern about the deals that recently made with the company XYZ. I have reasonable doubt that the company XYZ is dealing in bad faith according to their recent agreements with other companies. For example, within 3 months of acquisitions, companies ABC losses were unprecedented, with more than 70% of goods went unsold. Therefore, I would like to call for a reevaluation of our agreement with company XYZ. I think there are in some cases there are actually other writing structures in which you can actually use instead of perhaps the peel method. You can try to use the RL method, because believe that this is more of an this is more of an assertion. RL stands for assertions, reasoning, evidence, and also link back. Quite similar to peel, however, not quite. All right. In the peel, because P stands for point. Main idea. But then again, in this case, it's more suitable. All right, it's more suitable for RL, because in this case, it is more of an assertion. Crystal?
Anyway, either it's RL or PIL. I think this is well written. Yeah.
It is actually.
Well done.
Very XYZs and ABCs. Very good written. And perhaps we'll move to John.
Wait. This one is company XYZ, and why it's suddenly ABCs? Are they the same company? Oh, different companies. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm tired. Okay, next one, perhaps John. All right, I'll read John's writing. Yeah, I'd like to raise a concern about my workload. It seems. Oh, okay. Thank you for speaking for us, John. I'd like to raise a concern about my workload. It seems like I receive a lot of different tasks that I think should be done by another people. This made me sometimes feel overwhelmed. For example, replying to a customer concern can be done by customer service team, not me as a technical people that work as back office. Therefore, adding additional resource so people might help and my workload can also be manageable if you pay me more. Just kidding. Yeah.
This is basically a confession. More of a confession. But this is a well-written one. It is very easy to understand. It is still relevant to our to the theme of today's exercise, right? And it's very well written.
And what I like about this is that the point is raised a concern about my workload, right? And then the person, John, also wrote that with this specific example that I shouldn't be working as a customer service because I'm from back office. So this clears the confusion. Yeah, I mean there's no confusion in the very beginning, but like it's give the specific example that is required when you read this kind of point. I would like to raise a concern about my workload. What workload? What you're not supposed to do something, and what did you do? So this is a good example, really specific. I think we can just move on to the next task, yeah?
Yes, please. We have about a bit of a minutes left, so let's move to the second exercise.
Anyway, before we move, please give applause for yourself for giving your best in practice one.
Perhaps let's go back to the PowerPoint. Yes, thank you. Moving forward. So again, a bit of a recall, all right, as to how we should actually start the peel. All right, just engrave this into your brain. And we're going to be moving into the second exercise because we do have a bit of a time constraint. Now, let's try it out. So you do have the Padlet, so please use the same Padlet, all right? But for this particular case, we are going to be having several prompts. Now, we would like to have you guys perhaps choose one of these three prompts. All right, we have give a monthly report to your supervisor while explaining to the one main challenge you went through the month. The second one would be explain to management how you contributed to improving a process or workflow. And third, write a request to your coworker to aid in a new sales project. Again, this can be written in a paragraph or perhaps in a form of email. All right, but please refer to the prompt. Use the Padlet to write to write your peel sentence, and we're going to be seeing them as well. So,
right.
Perhaps.
And please put it in the right Padlet, guys.
Please do this time.
I've met another one. The name is The Real Practice 2. Yeah, the real one.
So perhaps we're going to be having a time of 7 to 8 minutes. Will that be okay?
I think 10 is okay.
10 is okay?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll have a bit of 10 minutes for you guys to write this one down. So starting from now.
By the way, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us.
Jumbled around 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. All right, it's not going to be like that. So when you are telling like a peel, think of it as a storyboard peel. Point, right, evidence or probably explanations first, whichever you go for, and then we close it out with a link. Now I want you to imagine as well that either a circle, and orange is completely a circle. Circle means that we go back to therefore we would like to raise a concern about our therefore the concern about Perhaps everyone has perhaps chosen one of these three, so we can basically move back to the Padlet. Everyone has chosen? Okay. Can we please go to the Padlet? All right. All right. Can you please go up? It should be the real practice O2. It should be on the top. All right. Okay. So perhaps while they are writing their appeal, perhaps we'll wait for one more before we get back to the feedbacks. Perhaps any questions yet or troubles throughout the way? Anyone? All right, with this in mind, we have several submissions for the second practice, the real practice O2. So perhaps, Chris, which one we would want to go for first?
Let's start with Sophia. Yes.
Sophia.
Sophia Coppola. Yeah? Okay, I'm going to read this for us. Did you know that I trained the new officer, Thomas, for a week straight? I helped him write an article and publish it to our blog. Therefore, he is now ready to work on his own. Comments, Fatur?
Very straightforward. I like this.
By the way, which prompt does this discuss?
Yeah, which prompt was this? Believe this is the third one.
So, but the third one is write a request to your coworker to aid in the new sales project.
Yes, perhaps, Sophia, this is more of a rant. This is more of a rant. Besides the prompt that we actually gave, but then again, let's actually see to it. How do you see this, Kristo?
Yeah, but well, even though this might have been written not related to the prompt, but I can say that this is straightforward. This is what we love. A second one?
Second one.
Explain to management how you contributed to improving a process or workflow. Yes, I think in this case, Sophia helped Thomas for writing the article and publishing it. Is that guys what you mean?
I can see
Yeah.
the vision. I can see the vision.
Yeah, it's like maybe 40%. Yeah, 40% of prompt 2 and 40% from prompt 3. But anyway, regardless of the prompt, this is very straightforward. So yeah, even though it's just written in 3 sentences, so we've got the point, And then we've got the evidence because for a week straight, we can look at the log every time Thomas is being trained by Sophia. And therefore, he's now ready to work on his own. Yeah. All right, no more comments. Can we move to the next one?
Sure,
Okay.
Let's have,
Graceful crocodile.
let me try to read it. I strongly believe that I have contributed to the improvement of process A in our team by redesigning the FAQ page. This can be seen by the decrease of user complaints and inquiries in the last month. Users now are able to get more information from the FAQ page, which decreased their inquiries. This means my improvement of my redesigning the FAQ page has helped the users with their work.
Well written. Yeah, especially the one, this last one, the link. This means my improvement of redesigning the FAQ page has helped the users with their work. Sometimes we are tempted to read the link as if we are moving to to talk about the solution, like we're trying to offer solutions. But actually, guys, in the appeal paragraph, the link should discuss back what the point has discussed in the very beginning of your paragraph. So it must link back to the point. And this is a really good example of appeal, at least from a perspective. What do you think, Fatur?
I think when I look at Peel first time and foremost, I would like to think it as a story, but I have explained it, how Peel is actually, you can actually perceive Peel as a storyboard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It cannot be jumbled, perhaps 1, 3, 4, 5. We cannot have point and then link and then perhaps evidence and then explanations. In this case, it has done Peel very, very nicely, a very good structure and a storyboard as well. As Kristo has mentioned earlier, for the linked, you can link it back to the point. Well, in this case, you need to vision as if it's basically a whole cycle. P-E-E-L, it goes back to the point. All right? Perhaps a bit more vision.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. and Miss Crocodile.
Thank you, Crocodile.
Yes. Can we go with the next one? Red and white patriot. Yes, that one. I'm requesting your skill set to help me completing the new sales project workflows paper. Your past marketing experience and strong interpersonal salesmanship toward oil and gas clients are quintessential. Our client needs to turn the most number of oil and gas companies. Therefore, you could add real values to the company by helping me. Yeah, what do you think, Fatur?
This one in particular, I like how it's basically written. Again, while it is basically an email, it can be straightforward, such as this. I'm requesting your skill set to help my completing the new sales project workflow paper. I think this one in particular, right? You can basically start seeing where link is actually being applied over here, as Kristo has mentioned earlier, conjunctions. All right. Therefore, all right. Therefore, based off that and so on and so forth, are really great ones to basically indicate that this is basically the link. Therefore, you can add real values to the company by helping me instead of I. Other than that, Kristo?
I'll add another comment to the cohesiveness of the paragraph. So the second sentence talk about your past marketing experience and strong interpersonal salesmanship toward oil and gas clients are quintessential. And then perhaps you may want to talk about this interpersonal skill because you end the sentence with interpersonal skills, right? So perhaps you want to talk about it a little bit. Yeah, you do mention the audience here, which is the client, but you could say that perhaps our client is a chatty person, for example, that needs someone to interact with them, blah, 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 before you go on with the next point. Yeah, so kind of like have the bridge, the link to present to make it more enjoyable to read. Because this one is, there's no link here between this sentence with the previous one.
Right.
It may have like in the oil and gas companies, but no, it's not enough information to make it cohesive.
Not cohesive. There you go. Perhaps we'd like to go, let's see. Perhaps we do have 2 more. Playful Dory? Yes, let's go for Playful Dory. Dear Mr. Supervisor, I would like to attach my monthly report. This month, I have been frequently late for work because I've been stuck in traffic. Very honest. Starting December 2nd, the road from Monas to Gatot Subroto has been closed due to the traffic light repairs. My house is near Monas, so I have been stuck in traffic. Um, this is quite tricky. For
Yeah.
I think you got something to say.
Right. I think the first sentence is not a point. Yeah, because if you want to make a make a cohesive point with the next sentences, then you're supposed to say, "Dear Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to attach my attendance report in this month." This just says my monthly report. What kind of report it is? So if it is this broad or it's too generic like this, you may want to have this next sentences in the next paragraph. So you can begin the next paragraph by saying, the first report is regarding my attendance in this month. Yeah? So I think that will work. And we still haven't seen the link here.
Yes, exactly. I was about to point that out. My house is near Mona, so I've been stuck in traffic. I think this can be a bit up. All right, you can actually add. Therefore, this is perhaps this is the reason as to why I have been late to the office several times or many times. Perhaps, Kristo.
Yeah. I think perhaps that's all that we can discuss from today's practice.
Yes.
My takeaway message for you is that if link is too difficult or it's too challenging to write, then just ditch it out. You don't have to always make conclusions. But anyway, having conclusion will be great. But the main thing that you need to have is having the main idea, which is the point, and then the explanation and evidence. The P, it sounds gross, like P, you're gonna P, but like it's a P of good information that you need to have. Yeah, so having the PEE certainly helps you to build clearer message for your audience to read.
And think of it as a storyboard. And for that, thank you.
Can we go back to the slides?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we are done speaking today, but if you have any questions or inquiries you would like to discuss, can we go, oh, where's the clicker? Yeah. Then you can reach us out here. These are our social media and our LinkedIn as well. So again, everyone, thank you very much for tonight. We hope you enjoyed learning together with Ad America and Jakarta International English.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kak Kristo and also Kak Fatur for the very insightful session. Can we have another round of applause, everyone? Yes, thank you so much once again to Kak Kristo and Kak Fatur from Jakarta International English for giving us this very meaningful and very insightful session today. And also thank you to everyone here for attending this session. And we do hope that everyone here learned a lot and also gained a lot of insights and also knowledge from today's session. And everyone, earlier in this event, we had a social media quiz for our online viewers. And the question was, is it true or false? Writing is a powerful tool for developing critical thinking skills. And the correct answer to that is true. Writing helps you gain clarity and organize your thoughts logically. Shout out goes out to @t.suharso1196 from Instagram for answering the question correctly. And for those of you here who are interested in attending more events and also programs in Ad America, don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms at AT America on Instagram, X, Facebook, and also YouTube for our updates and also information about Ad America, and also visit our website and also register as a member at atamerica.or.id. Once again, thank you so much everyone for attending our event today. My name is Ara and see you at the next Ad America event. Thank you everyone.